Join me as I spend a night in the wilderness to see if my biggest fears really come to life. Wilderness nightmares. We've all had them at some point or another. You know, those terrifying scenarios that play out in your mind when you're sitting around the campfire or lying in your tent at night. The what-ifs that keep you up, making your heart race and your imagination run wild. But what if I told you that some of those nightmares can actually come to life? That's what we're exploring today. The dark side of wilderness adventures, and the harsh realities that can turn a dream trip into a living hell. When you're out in the wilderness, anything can happen. And I mean anything. One minute you're hiking along, enjoying the scenery, and the next, you're lost in a torrential downpour, with no phone signal and no way to start a fire. Or you're camping in an area known for bear sightings, and you hear a rustling in the bushes outside your tent. Maybe you're even swept away by a surprise flood, or trapped in a ravine with no clear escape route. The point is, when things go wrong in the wild, they can go very, very wrong. These situations can be overwhelming, to say the least. The fear, the panic, the feeling of helplessness. It's a toxic mix that can cloud your judgment and impair your decision-making. And yet, it's in these very moments that you need to stay calm, think clearly, and make smart choices if you want to make it out alive. It's not easy, trust me. I've been there myself, facing down my own wilderness nightmares and living to tell the tale. But with experience comes wisdom, and today I want to share some of those hard-won lessons with you. Let me tell you, I've heard some horror stories in my time. People who've gotten stranded in the desert with no water, or who've been stalked by mountain lions in the dead of night. But one of the most chilling stories I've come across is that of a group of friends who set out on a hiking trip in the Rocky Mountains, only to find themselves caught in a sudden snowstorm. They were forced to take shelter in a small cave, where they spent the night huddled together for warmth, listening to the howling wind and the creaking of trees. It was a night that would haunt them for the rest of their lives, and one that I'll never forget either. There was a moment during that fateful night when the group thought they heard something moving outside the cave, a low growling sound that sent chills down their spines. They didn't dare to venture out, fearing what they might find, and instead waited for dawn to break, praying that the storm would pass and they could make their escape. It was an agonizing wait, with the darkness pressing in on them from all sides, and the sound of their own ragged breathing the only thing they could hear. When the sun finally rose, they emerged from the cave, shaken but alive. The storm had passed, leaving behind a landscape transformed, snow-covered trees, frozen lakes, and a silence that was almost deafening. It was a moment of sheer beauty, but also one of profound gratitude. Gratitude for having made it through the night, and for the lessons they learned about the power of nature and their own resilience. One of the most striking things about this story is how it highlights the importance of respect for nature. When we venture into the wilderness, we need to remember that we're not the ones in control. Nature is. And if we're not prepared, or if we get too cocky, she can turn on us in an instant. So what can we do to mitigate these risks? What steps can we take to avoid getting caught out in the first place? The answer, of course, lies in preparation, in knowing the terrain, in packing the right gear, in staying informed about the weather, and in trusting your instincts. It's about being aware of your surroundings and staying adaptable in the face of unexpected challenges. And it's about respecting the land, respecting the wildlife, and respecting the power of nature to humble us. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the heart of wilderness nightmares. If you've got a story of your own to share, maybe one that'll make our skin crawl, or one that'll inspire us to get outdoors and push our limits, then please leave it in the comments below. And if you want to learn more about survival tips, outdoor adventures, and how to stay safe in the wild, then be sure to check out my other videos. Until next time, stay adventurous and stay safe.